So really quickly to start us off, could you give us a short introduction about yourself? Things like who you are, what's your occupation, etc.
Right. So I'm one of the individual needs teacher at South Island School within ESF Foundation. I've got a background of psychology, and then I've done my postgrad in special education. So I've got some trainings on special education as well as psychometric testing and other psychology related trainings as well.
Okay. And what are your experiences as a teacher of students with individual needs?
It is a very interesting experience. I think it's more similar to many other teachers than different. It's just we're teaching a little bit differently and then think a little bit more about their needs. The planning is pretty much the same. It's just more about catering their needs. That is one of the difference, I would say. It is, I think, what we have been doing is, in order to cater the differences, we look at different possibilities, different curriculums, different activities to make sure that they understand or able to express their feelings and show their understanding. So there are different methods that we have been trying. I think it's a try and error process for teaching individual needs to students.
Yeah.
So we try different things, see if it works. If it works, we continue. If not, then we try something different. So it's a day-to-day basis thing.
Okay. Could you elaborate a little bit on the similarities?
The similarities, they all love going to school. They want to make friends. They want to learn. They want to do well. These are the things, the core, I would say, from what I can see from individual needs students. So it's just how it's not as easy for them to make friends. It's not as easy for them to catch up as fast as other classmates in the classroom. But actually, deep down, we all want the same thing. They all want the same thing. They want friends. They want to do well. And it's just how we can support them to achieve the goals like everybody else. That is the difference, I think. But deep down, actually, they're more similar than different.
Okay. Do you have any interesting personal experiences you could share?
Interesting experience. When I first started teaching special needs children, I work in a special school instead of inclusive setting. So is a school with children with very high needs. And I was still in my training. I've done all my child development theories and psychology and knowing all of those, but I haven't got much practical experience working directly with children with special needs. And so I was teaching, and one of the child doesn't seem to be responding. So I get a little bit closer to see if everything's all right, and then he pulled my hair. He grabbed on my hair and bite on my face. And he was around 6 years old, and he was non-verbal, so he can't say anything. So normally for interaction, it's like he looked at you and then point at things so he can tell us what he's thinking or what he wants. But that one, I think he was really upset, and he was grabbing my hair and then bite on my face, and it was shocking. There was 3-4 teachers in the same room, and everyone's trying to make sure that he let go. And I've got a really big mark on my face afterwards, and then needs to go to find ice bucket, to go to the nurse, and all kind of things. Like is a very unique experience, I suppose, and not many teachers got bitten on the face. But of course, that will be a very, very unique and very exceptional case. It's not like, oh, all the special needs teacher get this. It's totally not. It's one of the exceptional experience, but very memorable one. Yeah. And after that, we've got really good bonding with the child as well. So he knows that it doesn't work. Getting angry and pulling people's hair won't get his way. So he was like, okay, let's stay calm and let's talk. Let's do the communication instead of pulling hairs. So it's one of a very interesting experience.
Yeah.
Well, it's great the student was able to learn from that.
Yeah.
Moving on though, more so about your occupation. Why did you choose to go into this line of work?
It's very interesting. So I started off with psychology. So I like psychology. I like working with people. I like understanding what people think. But I also love children. So at my university years, our university have one whole year called gap year, and this year that we have to go and work in the psychology field. So I chose to work in a children's hospital. So I've got an experience working full time with children with needs, but they are more like medical and psychological needs. But of course, with psychological and medical needs, they have difficulties with academic as well because they don't go to school as much as they wanted to. They have difficulty catching up with stuff and needs help with family support and all these kind of things. So that is how I first started working with children with needs. Then after I moved back to Hong Kong, I then reckon actually this is something that I may want to explore a little bit more. So with very good memory, working in a hospital with children and families, I got myself into one of the schools, the special schools that I mentioned earlier, to work with families and children, because they have, most of them actually have got physical and psychological needs as well as learning needs. So it is a quite good mix. Like so I have some experience back then in uni, and after that I go a little bit further down the route like this. So it's a good one. I liked it. I've enjoyed it so far.
No, I'm glad. It's you seem to be really good at it, so it's good. I know we touched a little bit on this before, but perhaps we could talk a little bit about how students with individual needs and students without individual needs differ as students and as learners.
Yeah, sure. So just like what I said earlier, deep down they all want to do well in school, making friends, enjoy school life and stuff. I would say in terms of as a learner, some of the children with special needs, they may struggle a little bit with certain types of instructions. So some may find, so they could be very good reader, but they have got poorer auditory memory or processing speed. So they find verbal instructions very difficult to understand. But if instructions are written on the paper or on the board, they have no problem understanding it. So I think, but we are very privileged. Most of the students are very privileged to have no problem with any type of instructions, how they deliver the instructions and all the content. But some children, they're a little bit different. They're better in one thing than the other. So if we, so that is why they may struggle in certain classroom if it is delivered by only a certain means. Let's say if a teacher likes to talk instead of writing things down on the board, it will be very tricky for them if they are a good reader instead. Or the other way around. And some may actually find it very difficult to sit very still because of their hyperactivity or inattentive traits. So if the lesson is 2 hours long with no activities and no breaks inside, during it, they will find it very difficult. So I think that is how different they are, but actually there are very small things that we can twist and easily help them, very easily.
Okay. Moving on to the last few questions. How would you say that people, whether they be high school students, teachers, or schools in general, how can we better help with the issue and better help education move on and grow?
This is a really good question to ask because it's something like, what's the next step forward for everybody? I think number one is most important is the acceptance and understanding of it. I'm very, very happy to work in South Island School because most of the students and most of the families and teachers, they're very accepting and understanding. However, still there is stigmas in the society. It's difficult to take away so easily. But by understanding more, communicating with them more, you'll understand that actually, just like what we said earlier, we have got more similar than different. We feel more comfortable and more confident in communicating and working with them. I think that is what they really want. It's not about academic achievement, it's just not about that. But it's more like the whole learning experience, feeling accepted, feeling like I'm learning, people are supporting me. And on the other hand, I can see sometimes that it would be quite nice if we think like they are we help each other. It's not like we help them, but actually they have got so many things to offer as well. So when it's not just okay. I'll spend some time with the iron department and spend my lunchtime with them and be their friends as a volunteer work. But I think, of course, it will be very difficult to achieve is that people genuinely want to play with them and think about them as a friend rather than this is a voluntary work that I spend 1 hour in the iron department supervising kids. It's not like that. It's more about you truly want to understand them as a friend, as a person. If we can start with that, a lot of things will change.
Okay. Do you have any final remarks?
I would say thank you very much for having me today, because it really touched my heart when someone's thinking of children with special needs. This is a really good start, and I hope that this spirit grows and everyone a lot more people wants to know more about special needs children, how we can support them and how to make them feel accepted and learning equally as happy as everyone else is in the community. So that's fantastic. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you very much for being on the show. It's been great interviewing you. You're a lovely person. I can obviously tell that you really do love your job and you really do want to make the best of it. So thank you so much.